Hello, I'm Segun Manuel, and we believe that entrepreneurship is something we must develop in Africa and indeed the developing economies of the world. That is why we have this program called Let's Talk Business on this station. We want you to watch because we sit down with entrepreneurs and they encourage you on how to develop your own entrepreneurship business. Keep watching Let's Talk Business on this station.
Let's Talk Business showing on the station.
Welcome to Let's Talk Business. My name is Segun Manuel. On today's episode of the program, we'll be talking with one of UK's leading motivational speaker and indeed a Christian bishop. He's the founder of ICAN Global Network. He'll be telling us about the network and why businesses fail in the black community. Please join me. Welcome, Bishop Will Malcolm.
I'm delighted to be here.
Welcome
delighted
to the
be
program,
with you, Segun. Thank you.
Nice to have you here on the program. First thing I will ask, what is ICAN Global Network?
Okay, the ICAN Global Network is really an international network of aspirational believers, Christians who regard their careers to be a calling, people who want to use their professional life in service to God, and people who are very serious about growing their skills and bridging any knowledge gaps that they have so they can be the best that they can be in their industry, of service to their industry, of service to society, and ultimately of service to God. So it's a network that allows us to provide professional development services in the form of training, coaching, resources that just help to upgrade the skill and build the capacity of each individual to achieve the success that they envisage and the success that we believe God wants for them. So it's really a professional development network for believers who are serious about making a difference in the world.
Wow. You're popularly known as the business bishop. Just tell us how that came about.
Yes, well, I have a deep passion and love for entrepreneurs and business people. Probably started with my background. My professional life began at the ripe age of 19, and I began working with a financial services company as a consultant, which is a fancy name for a salesman. And I was basically selling financial services at an early age, and left that at another early age, in my early 20s, to go into the Christian ministry. But I carried with me a lot of the learning from that period of time, and a lot of the admiration that I developed for self-employed people, for entrepreneurs, for thinkers and innovators. And so our ministry has always had an edge where it was very supportive of people that had the courage to execute on an idea, to translate an idea into an initiative, and from an initiative to an income. And I suppose over the years, as we began supporting business people, I became synonymous with business. Ended up writing quite a few books. I've written 23 books.
Wow.
Mostly books that support aspiration, career aspiration, professional aspiration. Books on leadership and management. Books on sales and marketing. Books on coaching. These are all my favorite subjects. I'm a passionate learner. I consider myself a lifelong learner. I think I left school to go into the full-time business of learning.
Wow.
So I read fanatically, attend seminars, have some of the best mentors in the world, and I've just translated all that information into coaching systems that bless and support business people. I believe in them. I think they're just among some of the most courageous people in the world, and they are a necessary part of the health of our society.
Right.
Because they drive the economy, they create jobs, and in my experience, no country is ever lifted out of poverty through aid, through any aid package, no matter how large the package is. It can alleviate the immediate symptoms of poverty, but it cannot deliver a country from poverty. For a country to come out of poverty, it has to move from aid to trade, and that's where the entrepreneurs come in. That's where the thinkers come in. People who are looking for gaps that they can fill, needs that they can service, business. Those people are admirable, and I have a love for them. I have a gift for them, and so they call me the business bishop.
Wow. That's the whole story about
That's
business
the whole
bishop.
story.
And I know you've worked in a black community for a very long time, and that's where our episode today is fashioned around.
Yeah.
I want to ask, in your experience in working with the black community, what in your opinion is the problem with black people and entrepreneurship?
Well, that's quite a loaded question.
Wow.
So let me kind of go back a little
Break it
bit. Historically, the church in the West, certainly in America, participated in the struggle for civil rights and for social justice. Dr. Martin Luther King led a huge movement that marched on Washington, that practiced civil disobedience in an attempt to change public policy to create a level playing field and fairness and equal rights for all. That was a necessary step in our recovery from the effects of slavery and colonialism. It was a necessary step. However, to complete that recovery, to complete that restoration, there is another fight, okay, that we have to fight. It's, we're still fighting for civil rights to a certain degree, but the real fight now is the fight for economic justice and economic opportunity. And so as a clergyman, I feel a sense of mandate to participate in the struggle for economic justice and economic opportunity for our people who are still recovering from the effects of slavery and colonialism. Now, when it comes to, therefore, what we are missing, fundamentally I believe it's that we have been miseducated to rely on the job market, to rely on our masters, all right? And so in much of our education, we've learned how to be obedient, we've learned how to be passive, we've learned how to work systems, but not how to create systems. We've learned how to participate in the system, but not how to be creators. And as a result of it, a lot of black people, a lot of us are consumers of products that we do not produce. All right, and we have to make the shift from being consumers to being producers, from working the system to creating the system. And that requires a new sort of education because it's not readily available in the schools. You know, if you go to school and you get a business degree, what that really does is qualify you to enter the job market at a higher level. It's really a degree teaching you how to work a system rather than how to create systems. So really I feel that fundamentally we've been pretty miseducated, and when I say miseducation, I mean that there are essential ingredients missing from our education, so that we're not sure how to see an opportunity, and even if we see it, we're not sure how to seize it, and when we seize it, sometimes we're not sure how to sustain it, because we haven't really that sort of education is not readily available in the school system. But it is available from mentors. It is available from the experience of those who have succeeded. And so I feel that we need a whole wave of education, like a wave of entrepreneurial education, until certain things become commonplace, till we know how to see an opportunity, how to seize an opportunity, and how to sustain an opportunity. That's one of the things that I think is pretty critical. So I'll stop there for a minute.
Okay, this problem of the miseducation of the black man, is it common to the black man? If it's not common to the black man, how did the white man and people of other races solve this problem of miseducation?
Well,
two questions in one time.
I saw the double barrel. Actually, it's it's common to the history of humanity. You know, if you look at the history of humanity, there are masters and there are masses. Okay, there is a ruling class, there is a serving class in every civilization, in every society. It's in the interest of the masters or of the ruling class to keep the masses ignorant of the system, because if you disseminate knowledge freely, all right, then you're empowering people. Okay, so knowledge is, some people say knowledge is power. Well, it's potential power. But if it is coupled with skill, which means that you now know how to put that knowledge into action, then you're no longer relying on you're no longer reliant on the masters. And it's sort of like this. It's an old adage, all right? Give a man a fish, you will feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish, and you feed him for life. Now, if you're in the business of selling fish, you really don't want to teach people how to fish, because you want them to keep coming back buying your fish.
Exactly.
So there's a certain level of knowledge that is always going to be kept from the masses, because it will empower the masses and it will upset the status quo. When it comes to black populated nations, you know, we have traditionally for years been at the bottom of the economic barrel, even though we have sat on rich soil. You know, we have sat on rich continents. We are surrounded with the best that nature and God can supply, and yet we haven't been able to turn it into what we need. That is a knowledge gap, and it is a skills deficiency fundamentally. And so you know, our approach is to disseminate knowledge and to develop skills. That is the beginning. Obviously there are other factors that suppress black nations, but fundamentally, if you teach a man how to fish and he gets hungry enough, he's going to go out fishing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The other part of my question was, this same problem existed, like from your answer now, it existed across races.
Yeah.
But how did the other races solve, apart from teaching them, giving them information, what were the other things they did that helped them solve this problem of miseducation?
Well, I am not sure that other nations have solved the problem of miseducation. Okay. I just know that in some nations, information is more readily available, or people are realizing that for the first time in history, all of us, most of us, have access to the largest library in the history of the world.
That's right.
We are literally in an information age in which you can find out how to do anything very quickly because of the internet. And some countries have taken hold of the internet, the digital revolution, very quickly, and this means that individuals are now able to find out for free, quite fast, how to do things that they otherwise would have had to pay to go and find out how to do. So, you know, one of the things we do in our academy, because we have an academy of entrepreneurship, is we teach people how to use the internet properly, how to use the internet as a tool for doing business, as a tool for trading. And it is amazing how many mothers who have to stay at home to look after their family are now able to generate multiple income streams from home a few hours a day on their computer. This is really quite a revolution, but it's a revolution that we are all slowly waking up to. So I think one of the advantages in countries where the internet is fast, it's high speed, and is readily available, one of the advantages is that people are now educating themselves instead of waiting for someone to educate them.
True. We used to think that knowledge is power, but the Bishop just told us that knowledge is potential power. When we come back on the other side of the program, Bishop Malcolm will be telling us things we need to know to make our businesses grow and sustain ourselves and livelihood.
News, just as you want it, covering all angles as we move all around the world. Follow the flow and we'll bring news.
Yes, our flow, always on point, on local, national, international, entertainment and sports news. We are second to none. We inform you for greater impact. ABN News.
At this time.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Business. We told you that knowledge is potential power. We try to see how we can help you turn your knowledge into actual power. Bishop, on the other part of the program, we're looking at the problems with the black community and business. I want you to critically look at a typical scenario in our society where people are trained as engineers, but they find because there are no job opportunities, they find themselves working in banks and doing other jobs that are not related to what they are trained. What do you think could have led to this, and how do you think we can get out of this?
Okay, well, what you're describing is actually a phenomenon happening worldwide within the education system. Certainly in the UK, people are coming out of university with a degree, and then they're going to work in McDonald's. All right, because the jobs don't exist. So we got a fundamental flaw, not so much with the method of education, but with the mission of education. Because the methods of education are constantly evolving, but the mission has remained the same since the industrial age. The mission is to qualify you for a job. The problem is that if the jobs are not there, then we've got a fundamental flaw in the mission. So now we've got to revise the mission of education, which is really to equip people for an opportunity, not simply for a job. And to understand that opportunities in the new world are abundant for people who think entrepreneurially, for people who think in terms of self-employment and creating their own jobs. But they are limited for people who are completely dependent on a job. So job dependence is still the mission in education. So one of the things we're calling for is a review of that mission, because otherwise you create massive frustration with thousands and millions of people coming out of university with degrees, and the jobs are simply not there. And so they end up taking whatever they can, part-time here, there, and feel betrayed by the system. Even if there are a limited number of jobs, there are opportunities to serve in abundance. There are opportunities to add value in abundance. There are opportunities to use your skill set in abundance. So, it's hard for me to quickly answer this, and you can tell I'm a talker. I teach seminars. I like to explain and break things down. But it's just important to realize that a fundamental shift in the way society works has already taken place, and we're at the dawn of a new era, a new age. And I'll explain it like this. We in less than 100 years, we moved from an agricultural age into an industrial age. Farming drove the economy, and then industry drove the economy with railroads and steel, and the age of mass production, which was the age of job abundance. Okay? Yes. Our educational system came out of that period of time in which people were being trained for jobs that actually existed. However, we've moved now from an industrial age through a service age into an information age, and we're now in the age of the entrepreneur, the age of self-employment. So what we have to do is supplement the income with the education with some ideas about what you could do if the job you're looking for doesn't exist. How can you package the skill set, package the education that you have, and actually promote it, position it, price it, and promote it as a self-employed individual, as a self-employed offerer of services and of value. So that phenomenon you're describing is happening worldwide, and I think that one of the things that we could do is begin to teach what the alternatives to job security really are. Sure. And there are alternatives, all right? Because there are needs everywhere. There are gaps everywhere. And sometimes your skill set, your personality, and your education is all that's needed to plug that gap. The second thing I'm going to say is that a career is a path. It's not simply a job. It's a path. And once you determine a career path, understand that you may see several jobs along that path. Your main job is to pick up the knowledge and the experience from this job, to take it into the next job, to take it into the next job, to get you back onto your path. All right? Instead of seeing it that, oh no, I've studied for this, this is my dream career, now I ended up doing that, Do that for the season because you need to in order to make ends meet. But extract the learning, grow your skill set. Don't take your eyes off of your path, and just kind of develop a plan, a strategy to get back to the thing that you love to do, that you want to do. Because really, happiness and fulfillment, in a career comes from doing what you love and loving what you do. And it's a few people that seem to enjoy that privilege, but everyone has an opportunity to move in that direction. So I would say to that person, you got to do what you got to do, because you got to eat and you got to live somewhere. But you don't have to abandon your dreams just because of where you are right now. Keep growing your skill set. Keep learning. Don't just rely on that degree, because the knowledge in every industry is doubling every 2 years. Right? That means that in 2 years' time, everything we know about medicine right now, there'll be just as much new knowledge in medicine. There'll be just as much new information. So you don't just rely on your degree, because no employer is really that impressed with your degree. Sorry to put it like that, right? They're not really that impressed, okay? You got to keep growing your skills, growing your knowledge in the field of your dreams, even while you're doing this other job. Because all it takes is one conversation with the right person to hear you speaking a language that is current, that is contemporary, that's meeting their need, and they are ready to employ you, because you are speaking to the company's future and not to the company's past. So I think over-reliance on a degree it's major. You got to keep on. By the time you've gotten that degree, usually all the rules in the industry have already changed. And so it's about now continuing to upgrade, while you're doing the jobs you have to do, still keeping your focus on the job you want to do.
That's right. Yesterday I was listening to you talk, and you talked about the business behind business.
Yeah.
Let's throw that in.
Okay. So yesterday,
because we have people, sorry to cut you, we have people who claim they are business people in our society today, and really, from what I heard you say yesterday, they really are not. Tell us about the business behind the business.
Okay, yeah. So what I said yesterday at a seminar for about 200 business leaders here in Warri, which is very impressive to have that amount of interest. But what I said yesterday is that real business occurs at the point of a sale.
That's right.
And without a sale, there is no business in progress. You're not in business until you are exchanging your value for money. And so everything else is ancillary to the business. So a lot of people who think that they're in business, they're doing things, they're very busy, they're very active, but they're not productive because there's no exchange of the value for money. So it's about focusing, number one, on the real business. You're in the business of sales. You are in business to sell, to exchange value for money. Now, the business behind that is marketing. And marketing is your approach to winning or getting and keeping customers. It's about customer orientation. It's about meeting them at the point of their need, not just satisfying them, but amazing them. And it's about thinking about your offer in their terms, because we think about what we're offering in our terms. I got a great product, I got a great service. Well, why is it great? Why is it great for the end user? And then crafting your promise or your offering in terms that make sense to the end user. That's really what we're talking about. And really what I was saying is this, that if you focus on the master skill of marketing and sales, you can use that skill to drive any business venture forward. But if you are not clued when it comes to marketing and sales, you may have the best business in the world that goes nowhere. And you'll find a competitor with an inferior product, with a flawed delivery system that is slower than you, that is not even nicer than you, going farther than you, because they have invested into marketing and sales, branding, shaping perceptions, And so that's the masters. That's what we focus on in our academy, and that's what we focus on in the ICAN Global Network for people, because you can join our network at various levels. You can join as a free member and benefit from some of the resources, but to get our coaching and our training, obviously there are some higher levels, but we focus at the business level on the master skill of marketing and sales, because all the rules for marketing and sales have changed in the world of technology and in the digital world. There's a new set of rules.
I would ask you to throw that in. How do, in this age of the internet, how does black society benefit from the internet revolution?
Well, the first thing we have to do is embrace it, jump on it, and own it. I mean, in Nigeria, I believe, some statistics I've recently heard to say there are 50 million internet users in Nigeria, making Nigeria the largest African nation users of the internet.
Yes.
So we have to embrace this. It is a new world. It's a new reality. It's not going away. Billions and trillions of dollars are being traded online every day. The internet is also a level playing field. Okay, it doesn't discriminate. Black, white, old, young, male, female, this religion, that religion. No one really knows who's behind a website. You understand what I'm saying? However, we have to embrace it. We have to do a lot more training around the opportunities that are there. We have to do a lot more work around how we begin to trade with other countries online, because those opportunities are there as well. And how we brand ourselves online, how we provide the social proofs that we are authentic and credible. It's not just about getting a designer to put up a website, okay? I will never do business with a website unless there are enough social proofs that make that website credible. So those are things we teach in our academy.
I'm not cutting you, sir, but there's something you said. Social media is the new. There's a word.
The new due diligence.
Exactly. Explain that to us.
Okay. Well, in the UK, if you're going to do business with someone that you just met, then you do due diligence and you check them out. Okay? And I'm sure you do the same thing here. If you meet someone, they have some business to do with you, you check them out. You would find out, who knows them, who they know, what their reputation is, have they ripped off anyone before, are they legitimate, etc. In the UK, we used to have mechanisms whereby we could check people out. Is the company legit? Is the person legit? We ask questions. Today, in the digital revolution, social media, social consensus is the new due diligence. In other words, if you do not have a website for your business in the UK, in our mind, it's because you do not exist. If you don't have a website, your company does not exist. Okay? No one will do business with you if you do not have a website. Secondly, the website has to be a second-generation dynamic website with updated information. So we're not just looking at the same thing every month. It's the same thing. The information is changing. Thankfully, second-generation websites are cheaper than first-generation websites, which is why we teach people how to build their own websites or how to get them done very, very cheaply. Secondly, social media, social networks, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. All of these things provide social proof that you're a real person, that you actually exist. And then if your customers can give testimonials and endorsements through your social media with your dynamic website, it kind of proves that you do exist. It's easier to check you out. We can do a Google search and find out who you are, what is being said about you online. If nothing comes up, I'm telling you, in the UK right now and in the US, if I Google your name and nothing comes up, you do not exist, and no one will do business with you. That's what's happening in England and America, and ultimately the trend is going to move across the world, because these are the rules for doing business in a digital environment.
Thank you very much, sir, for all the information that has been shared with us. I like what you said. What the black community needs to do is jump on the internet revolution. Because people still think in our society today, oh, Facebook is Twitter is for young people, so those going to play games. But you've just told us the reason why we need to, because social media, like you said, is the new
due diligence. Yeah.
Thank you for staying with us today on Let's Talk Business. I hope you've learned something from what we talked about. We've been talking with Bishop Wayne Malcolm. Bishop Wayne Malcolm is the founder of the ICAN Global Network. Is popularly known as the Business Bishop. You can follow him on Twitter. His handle is the Business Bishop. If you follow him, I'm very sure he'll follow you back. He'll also share ideas with you. Then you can Google him up, like I said. You find out his website and other things that you can also join up to the ICAN Global Network.
Network.com. Yes, you can join our family.
All right, just in case you've not already joined Bishop Malcolm's network, you can go and do that on www.icanglobalnetwork.com. Again, it's www.icanglobalnetwork.com. All in one word, icanglobalnetwork.com. You'll find out more details on how you can join in this network and how you can benefit from that network. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk Business today. It's our time. My name is Segun Manuel, and we have been talking business.
One of the advantages of the third world countries is that they are emerging. They are dynamic.
Employ people. What is the minimum wage that people are supposed to be paid for the kind of job they do?
Hello, welcome to Let's Talk Business. My name is Segun Manuel, and on Let's Talk Business we look at how to build entrepreneurship, not just in Africa but in the developing nations of the world. I urge you to join us here to watch Let's Talk Business weekdays on this station.
Imagine